Lillard. Steps back, fires, banks it into Milwaukee. All the way in, Giannis.
I still can't believe these two are on the same team. I mean, on one hand, Giannis is an unstoppable force of nature, and on the other hand, if not for number 30 in Golden State, Lillard would be the best point guard in today's NBA. This just isn't fair. In saying that, however, the Celtics aren't a team that simply bows down to strong opposition. There's a reason why this organization has 17 banners hanging in the TD Gardens, and there's a reason why this organization has been knocking on Larry O'Brien's door for the past few years. Over the course of the 2024 offseason, as we all know by now, both teams have cemented themselves as the teams to beat in the East, and no other teams even come close, which begs the all-important question. If these two teams went to war with each other, if the Bucks and Celtics met each other in the postseason in a best-of-7 series, which one of these titans would lose? Well, today I've taken a look at all the data, all the history, and all the facts to predict which of these behemoths stands above the other. And without further ado, let's do it. My apologies to Bucks fans, but I'm going to start this off with some bad news regarding their newly acquired superstar, Damian Lillard. You see, Lillard's a primetime bucket getter. We all know that, and he's arguably the second best point guard in the league currently. But if the Bucks went to war with the Celtics, Jrue Holiday would eat him alive. I ain't kidding. Back in 2018, when Lillard made the All-NBA First Team, there was a 3-6 matchup between the Trailblazers and the Pelicans, and the primary defender on Dame time for that series was, you've guessed it, Jrue Holiday. And just check this out. In this play here, Lillard tried getting past Holiday, but the defensive guard's hands and speed were enough to keep up with him, which eventually forced a turnover. Then in this clip here, Lillard tried doing a high pick and roll, but Holiday was again fast enough to keep up with him, made the pass as difficult as he could, which then forced a turnover. Ladies and gentlemen, these are just two small samples of what happened that entire series, as Holiday completely shut down Lillard. It's not a stretch to say that that was the worst playoff series that Lillard ever played in his career, as he averaged just a measly 18.5 points per game while shooting a dismal 35% from the field. And in case you were wondering, Jrue Holiday for that series went on to average nearly 28 points per game on 57% shooting from the floor. I ain't saying that Holiday is better than Lillard, because that's preposterous, but the fact is, Holiday is a bad matchup for Lillard, and if the Bucks went to war with the Celtics, it ain't gonna be pretty for the Bucks' new superstar. Luckily for the Bucks, however, they have a secret weapon. Check this play out here.
Here's onto the Kumbo. Looking. Middleton. Oh!
You see this man? We all know him as Khris Middleton, but in Boston, they know him as the Celtics killer. Fans of the Leprechaun may feel safe knowing that Holiday is capable of significantly negating Lillard, but the fact of the matter is, they can't stop Middleton. I mean, for some odd reason, Middleton turns from an average NBA star into an absolute superstar when he plays against Boston. Like, just look at the numbers over the past two playoff series he had against the Celtics, which spanned 12 games. 22 points might not seem like a lot, but 49.5% from two-point range, 54.5% from beyond the arc, and a staggering 62.8 effective field goal percentage? If I had to guess, whenever Tatum and Brown lay eyes on him, they don't see the all-star Middleton that we all see. When Tatum and Brown look at him, they see Michael Jeffrey Jordan. And speaking of the GOAT, between both teams, I think we'd all agree that Giannis is the best player. The two-time MVP will be 29 years old next season, and just came off a season where, for the first time in his career, he averaged north of 30 points. Then, this leads me directly to my next point. Just like how D. Wade and LeBron sharpened each other back in the early 2010s to 4 straight finals appearances, I see Lillard and Giannis pushing each other to new heights in 2024, which is scary because Giannis is already a monster, and I can't even begin to fathom what it means for him to reach another level. Middleton also spoke on this recently when he said he expects them to have a career year. And speaking of career year, let's now talk about the elephant in the house, or I should say, the unicorn. All right, so a huge reason why the Celtics are looked at as one of the favorites is because of Kristaps Porzingis. Standing at 7'3" with the ability to shoot the three-point shot and his overall ability to move around the court, Porzingis is something the Celtics never had in the recent past. Then, the cherry on top, he's also coming off his best season ever in terms of points per game and efficiency. Make no mistake, Porzingis is a problem. Still though, if you were a betting man, could you bet on him in the playoffs? I mean, in 2020, he got a foot injury and had to sit out after 3 games. Then in 2021, despite playing north of 30 minutes per game, he averaged just 13 points and 5 rebounds per game. From what I've seen of Porzingis in the past, he doesn't play to his strengths enough, settles for far too many outside shots, is injury prone, and while he may be effective against non-elite teams, I wouldn't place too much confidence on him against the Bucks, especially when his matchup is likely going to be either Giannis, the 2020 Defensive Player of the Year, or Brook Lopez, who came in second for the DPOY trophy in 2023. After Porzingis is the two-headed dragon that keeps the engine running for the Celtics, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Now, first things first, these are two of some of the best players in the league today. Like, Tatum made the All-NBA first team for 2 consecutive seasons, while Brown is coming off his first All-NBA second team selection. These two are elite and are 90% of what makes Boston a championship contender. The million-dollar question, though, is, are they good enough to get over the final hump? Are they reliable on the biggest NBA stages? Well, Gilbert Arenas doesn't think so. In fact, recently on his podcast, Agent Zero had this to say.
If you look at Boston, their 2 wings aren't yet fully disciplined in their play. They're very great at what they do, but they're not disciplined.
And you know what? 2 years ago, when the Warriors beat them in 6, that's exactly what Grant Williams had to say as well.
When I've reflected and looked back to those games, like I still will say confidently to this day, they weren't the better team. You know what I mean? Like,
Golden State was not the better team.
Yeah, I would say that confidently. I would say they were a more disciplined team.
So that was what he said about them 2 years ago, and the same just happened against Miami. The Celtics were the overwhelming favorites to win the 2023 Eastern Conference Finals, to advance for the second straight year into the finals, but somehow they let a team filled with undrafted talents beat them. And this brings me to my last point here. I know basketball is a team sport, but in the NBA, it's more or less always the superstars that win you championships. I mean, when was the last time you saw a role player win Finals MVP? Okay.
I want Iguodala.
Except in 2015, but with that in mind, and given everything we've gone over, from Holiday's advantage over Dame, to Khris Middleton being the Celtics killer, to Giannis being the best player, to Porzingis, Tatum, and Brown all being not as reliable when the competition is at its highest, if the Bucks and Celtics went to war, I got the Celtics losing and the Bucks winning. What do y'all think, though? Are the Celtics a lot better than I've given them credit for, or do the Bucks have the clear advantage here? Will Tatum and Brown finally get over that hump, or will Dame Time finally reach the NBA Finals? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Then you gotta watch this video next.